All right, so, sir, who are you?
Nardwar. No, I'm just kidding. Alex Brown.
Alex Brown. We go back. This is my buddy Alex. Went to high school together, dance. Still doing his thing. Probably one of the most artistically talented people that I personally know.
Thanks.
Design-wise, everything-wise, kills it. And he's an awesome dude. So I wanted to try to introduce you guys to him and get his work out there, because obviously I think the whole world should know about it. So
Thanks.
Here we go. This is kind of like his showcase, and I want you guys to know who my friend Alex Brown is.
So profession, I do, I guess, graphic design for a living. Try to dabble in the hands-on art. So what I wanted to do growing up was printmaking, which John knows there's a million prints around this house. I just love that process. But the reason I didn't really go that route is because I knew, like, at the time, coming fresh out of school,
it's kind of hard.
Oh yeah. Yeah, basically. Like, I couldn't have worked for myself. I could. It would have been a really hard grind.
Yeah.
And I tip my hat to anybody who does that. Like, awesome. But for me, I knew that wasn't the route. So at the time, I could kind of draw and kind of knew the process of printing. I still took print classes in college and whatnot.
Being modest, of course.
Yeah.
Being modest.
But I wanted to go kind of like what you did. Like, I wanted to go digital route. I just knew at the time the digital route was more keen. Like, you could get a job in digital arts. You could, if you wanted to be like an industrial designer, like, that's a real thing. That's how you get to design shoes. Or if you really want to learn how to physically make a, like, Whirlpool dryer look cool, you know, you go to school for industrial design, which I wish I would have known at a younger age. But so I ended up going the graphic design route so I could challenge myself and learn something new while I had the time to learn something new. So it's kind of how I ended up in that realm. But with that, I got lucky enough to get an internship with Nascar after I was on the verge of graduating from college. And then I worked my butt off and made sure they remembered me. So when a job opportunity opened up, that I would be the first person they called. So luckily with that, that's what ended up happening. So day by day, I worked, 9 to 5 doing design for NASCAR. And on the side, I like to try to, take what I learned there technically and then flip it on its head and create more Alex or Xelephant work.
There we go. And that's what is Xelephant? Do you want to let us know what that is?
Yeah. So me and John have a friend in common named Virgil, and he was in my class, and I was making up this like Calvin and Hobbes kind of comic at the time. And what it meant to me is, like, I was a very good kid. Like, everybody knows this. I didn't go to any parties in high school. I didn't do any of that crap.
Low-key.
Yeah, so like when I would illustrate this stuff, I kind of would create, I created like this little jelly bean character. It's purple with, like, I don't know, he had like elephant hooves and antennas. But with that in mind, he would do things that I wouldn't do at the time, which I guess was just me, like, working through some things that I kind of missed out in. Yeah. But the Xelephant would go to those parties. He would hang out with X person and like skydive or whatever. Yeah. But I was too scared at the time,
The way you tell your story through that.
Exactly. So I did that, and then kind of got into like the writing / graffiti world for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what else to write, so I just wrote Xelephant just because it was there. And it did stick. And then I noticed that it took a while to write Xelephant quickly and get out of there, so I shortened it to Xela, which was Xela. I wrote that for 2 years, and one night I was out with my friend doing it, and he looks back at me and he goes, "You know that's your name backwards, right?" So ALEX, and I was like, oh shit, no, I did not. So like, to me, it was kind of like one of the subconscious things.
Pretty cool, right? Yeah.
You're just like, it feels right because you made up this thing that was supposed to be like your alter ego, your split personality thing, and then
Perfect.
all of a sudden you're writing Zella on a wall, and your friend's like, that's Alex backwards, and you're like, what? So I just kind of rolled with it since.
Dope.
Yeah, man, after shoes, collecting toys. Fortunately, it's all commercial based and consumer based. But I do like to play tennis and whatnot too. And
we used to skate back in the day as well.
Still cruise around.
Nice.
Really, I can always still maybe pop shove
Just
it.
taking it light, you know.
What drew me to the design world was, I guess, the idea of it's communication based. So growing up, like, Jake could draw, which is my twin brother, which I'm sure you'll meet in the other video.
Yep. We'll have another one for Jake as well.
But he was a very talented illustrator. Even like at 11, he could draw SpongeBob or Invader Zim like exactly how it looks in, 10 seconds. So what I got into was I would try to draw SpongeBob, but then I would mimic it in a way that I enjoyed, to where you could still tell it was a SpongeBob, but it looked designed.
That's one thing I just gonna throw this. I love because you guys have like unique styles that are like you, and I think as an artist, that's something that's really important. And you guys' style is it's awesome. It's awesome.
I appreciate that. And then with that, like, knowing that I wasn't the most talented illustrator, even though I can still do some things in that realm, I went heavy in the design route because it's communication based, it's visual, it's typography, it's it's in your face. So I really kind of enjoyed that, coming into that space, because at the time I'm like, I don't really want to have clients coming to me going, hey, can you draw a Dragon Ball Z character? And I have no idea about that, or something, So
it's got to be something that's in your niche.
Yeah, so that's kind of what stuck out to me, and like drove me towards going to the design route. Definitely picked that up more after I became an intern and after I started working professionally, because you see how much work you have requested. So like clients ask you for things, on Monday and it's due on Tuesday. You gotta be quick on your feet. So in my world, which is different than my brother's world, he's more like UX UI, which is, helping users figure out how to use things or whatever. He'll say it better than I do. But mine is design, communication. So I speak directly to the audience, mostly through like social platforms and whatnot. But, I make graphics that communicate something instead of necessarily have a flow to an order of like how something functions. It can, if I did like environmental communication design, which I have tackled a few times, or the whole Plesame shoe that Justice and Trevor had come to me, and then trusted me to help them make their idea come to life.
So a lot of these designs, a lot of these designs, obviously, you're gonna see throughout the video as well.
Yeah. So with that in mind, like, Trevor and Justice, they wanted to create the shoe, and the whole idea was to like combine two worlds, streetwear and high fashion, bring in a Rick Owens and a Nike Dunk together, which I have a background of, manipulating shoes in Photoshop and doing that number, so did that for them. And they loved it, so we mocked up a bunch of colorways, and then ended up realizing that this was going to be a thing because they started talking to factories. It was moving. So next steps were, let's start creating logos and stuff. So with that, like, I guess when we start to think of design process, I look at influences like Virgil, or even old things I like, the toys, the shoes, whatever. So when I started to think about my process, it's evolved over time. Earlier on in my design career, it was a lot of hands-on or a lot of sketching in the computer. which now I've got to a space where I brainstorm even as we're like speaking right now, you know, because a lot of times your ideas come to you last minute, or they come to you, you know, in a spur of a moment, or you'll be talking with a friend. So Nate, I had mentioned him earlier, he actually helped me brainstorm into that process, because the whole idea of Pleasame was kind of like a play off the legal jargon of how shoes made, how it's copywritten, whatever. So with that in mind, I was like, man, I gotta make something that's unique, but draws inspiration from something that already exists. So I was talking to my buddy Nate, who's also a designer, and he was like, yo, like, what are you thinking you're gonna do for this logo? And I was like, you know, I've been thinking about that a lot, and I want to use an eyeball, one, because the window to the soul.
Okay.
But if you think of soul, you get the soul of the shoe.
Yeah, that's dope. I like that.
But then I want to figure out a way to tie it into the whole legal side of it, or whatever, the jargon that they're kind of playing off of. So we were talking about like subscripts, and like if you're given a piece of paper in court, at the end of a sentence there might be this little SS thing, and it's referred to the bottom of the page. This is what the subscript is talking about, just so you have more context. So he actually was the one who got me there, because, you know, that was
that's dope.
The
That's
idea
real
we
dope.
talked together.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And just come about, you know, just bounce off ideas, you know.
Exactly, because I was like, you know, it'd be cool to like have something like court related or something in there, because just allows for what's the word I'm looking for? Recognition, like someone will recognize that.
Okay,
Oh,
based on, I guess, someone that has the background knowledge of maybe not necessarily full working knowledge of that field or that industry, but they kind of, oh, okay, I know what this is.
like if you looked at the register mark, you know what that is.
Yep.
Like this, the circle R.
Yeah.
That's kind of where their word mark comes off of. So it's Pleasame, and then the P is in a circle, because, you know,
Nice.
still playing
Nice.
off that whole idea of like, it's got to be like something that's recognizable, because in the long run, that's like what is successful design. Even something as simple as Apple, its logo is exactly what it says it is, but it's just so simple and clean, and has all the different geometrics, gridding that everyone's seen online that really shows how it's built. But when you look at it, you're like, oh, I could do that. Yeah, we all know,
Right.
Like same thing with Nike. You got the swoosh.
It's so simple, but it's crazy.
Yeah, because you think about the logos you see in life that you recognize. Starbucks might be the most crazy one. It's pretty detailed, but outside of that, you got like the swoosh for Nike. You got the Apple, Adidas 3 stripes. Everything's pretty simple.
Yeah, Google, just G.
Yep, communicates towards folks. So pulling inspiration from everyday life, whether it's something you may not know, but you can look up later, like the Register R situation, a TM, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking of all that while I was
There's a lot of ideas and a lot of thought that obviously that you're letting us know that went into creating that.
Yeah, and a lot of times the most successful things aren't not the most creative. What's the word I'm looking for? It's like the most successful things can be very simplified.
Yes. Okay.
One, you want them to be simple, especially when it's a logo, because you want it to be able to be one color and live anywhere. So if you design it in black and then you can change it to blue and pink, whatever, later, that's cool.
Makes it easy.
But you can also like throw it on something pink real quick and still live and communicate the way it needs to. But
just more versatility with it.
yeah, so that's a lot of the design thinking. And I guess to kind of bring everything full circle is with that project, you know, I knew all the concepts because we worked together, partners. Well, they were more partners. I helped their idea come to life, but I knew all their
their wants.
needs, their wants, yeah, all that stuff. So did my research. Originally we were gonna put like the shoe in a evidence bag and send it to people.
That's pretty cool. That's dope. That's creative.
But we kind of wanted to tie it back after all that to the high fashion and kind of just dumb it down.
Gotcha. No, that's awesome, man. That's dope.
But yeah, that was one of the cooler things I've worked on recently, and I feel like was very successful and also communicated to the audience we were trying to hit.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't hit me until months later, to be honest. Like,
but it's finally done.
Yeah. Like,
okay.
I think they released in maybe March or April this year, and maybe even last year, to be honest. But at the time, you know, it was very cool. I was like, yeah, this is cool. Yeah. It's very localized. Like, I saw everyone in Charlotte talking about it. Thought that was cool.
Nice.
Then I started seeing it pop up other places, and I was like, damn.
There we go.
And then now I'm kind of really seeing the impact after the owners of the company keep reposting things. And I'm like, damn, like this shoe actually it's meant something to a lot of people. And I'm glad that I was a part of that project, you know? So very, very, very cool.
That's awesome. So one other thing that like I'm kind of big on lately too is music. So obviously we both like art, movies. I definitely have a quirky sense of movies and whatnot, and obviously music, because whenever I draw, whenever I'm creating something, I love listening to music. So what are like some artists music wise that you listen to and you let draw inspiration from when you're working through your process?
That's a good question, man. So I really enjoyed Tyler the Creator's Flower Boy.
Okay.
That spoke to me a lot. In the years it released, of course, and still to this day, but he's very clever with lyrics.
Yeah.
You know, from what he came from as like just being a wild man, like eating roaches off his fingers or whatever, to evolving into the artist he is today. Like,
and you can definitely see that through his albums too.
Yeah, and we grew up in that. So like, we were the same kids because we were skating and doing all that weird stuff, but now we've evolved into who we are now.
Yeah.
So, you know, with that in mind, like, just the lyrics that he was writing at the time, I was just like, damn, like, do people even write this stuff anymore? Like, to see you again, like, you know, do you look both ways when you cross my mind? Like, whoa. Like,
it's clever. It's very clever, and it'll make you actually think about what he's saying.
Yeah, because, like, we hear that saying all the time. It's similar to, like, the little subscript logo I was saying.
Yeah.
Like, you might see it later in reference in life, but it'll come back full circle to that logo. But same thing with what he was saying there is like, you know, people are like, oh, you've been on my mind lately. You've been crossing my mind lately. Oh, well, what if it was crossing the street? It's like, oh shit, what if? You know, so like little things like that help me to like really conceptualize things, because I feel like my conceptualization has evolved over the years, and that's kind of what I thrive off of.
Yeah.
Because like I said earlier, it's like I don't get in there and like work for hours on something, or, you know, I really sit and think how to execute up here, and think what it's going to communicate first, and then hit the drawing boards and hit the art boards and all that stuff. So it's kind of like how those things influence me in those little day in the life. But yeah, that was a big album. Recently, I don't know, to be honest. What about you?
Me, I've been listening to, me personally, a lot of Larry June. I don't know if you've listened to any of his albums. I actually saw him in concert like 2 weeks ago.
Dang.
Out in Houston, and it's pretty live. It's a pretty live concert. Other than that, I'm still listening to all my instrumentals.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I still love Tori Moore.
New job ace or whatever.
Kind of like, honestly, no specific. It's kind of all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
I literally go on YouTube and just go down the rabbit hole. If I find an artist, then I'll try to find them on like iTunes or whatever, if they're popular enough, and then I'll just download and start listening to their music.
I like the Toro reference, because to be honest, forgot about him right now.
Yeah.
Which I didn't mean to. Love you to death. But he's one of those guys who creates like a mood, a conceptual album.
Exactly.
Because like the first album to the second album, and he also does all his art himself too. I found that out once when I was graduating and looking for jobs. I sent an email to his record company. I was like, hey,
dope.
Who does his art?
Yeah.
Maybe you guys would be looking to hire. And they were like, he actually does everything.
Nice.
So
you gotta appreciate it.
Looking at like what he does, like musically, creatively, like I even have a pair of Vans in the closet that there's only 100 of that he made. It's just like, what? I don't know.
He's got the whole creative process down, and that's something that's really, I find it's really dope.
Yeah, and I mean, as we get older, I feel like we can recognize those moments, and like I take a lot of inspiration from people like that, or like a Virgil or whatever, because they can make anything theirs. You know, they work in their moments, and it's just very influential. Because you know, I work in content for the majority of it. Anything they see on Nascar's Instagram that looks cool as a graphic, I probably made it, or my team made it. And with that in mind, we move quick. So it helps us evolve in spaces where we think quickly too. So do those guys. And you could be like, hey, we think we want to make a Jordan 1 to Virgil. I'm sure he had sketches that night.
Already ready to go.
So, or even before, because he might have been bored one Wednesday night, you know? So it's cool to see those folks kind of come up and take what they've done and apply it to yourself, because anything can come down. Anything can come down your path. You never know. I could have been scared and said no to the shoes, and where would I be? You know. So we figured it out together. Like they knew the production side. I had to do a CAD soul sketch. Never done that in my life.
How was that?
But we worked through it. It was interesting.
Okay.
We had to think of a cheat code to kind of get around it. So similar to like if you think of how Vans look.
Yeah.
The details mostly on the bottom, and the side is pretty much neutral. So we went that direction because at that point we can get anything done to the bottom and kind of keep the side neutral. It tips the hat to that high fashion situation where it's like
still keeps it clean, minimal.
Keeps it minimal, but at the bottom you can have some crazy design, maybe do a collaboration with somebody who does the other side. So we were thinking in that vein. So
so we covered the music. I think our other big thing that we, I guess, kind of cover is food.
Well, I would say this to my significant other, Nina. She's a very good cook.
Nice.
We'll go out and eat places, and I'm just like, sometimes I can't believe we're eating here because you cook 1,000 times better than that. But
hey, you gotta appreciate a good chef.
Yeah. So with that in mind, there are a couple spots that we like to hit up. It's a Korean spot in Matthews. It's called Parra. Dope.
Yeah.
It's a good experience.
Just putting this in perspective, because no one really knows where we are.
Oh yeah, Charlotte.
This is Charlotte, NC.
The 4. No, it's good. Then there's a Thai spot we enjoy called Rai Lai. It's dope. I'm trying to think of other places we really like to go. My OG spot, which is kind of like how other people would treat an In-N-Out burger. Like, I don't care if anyone who I introduced to hates it or thinks it's bland or whatever, but South 21 Junior.
Okay.
That's my that's my spot. Like, I love that place. Still go there. Those guys, I go like once a year. The guys still remember who I am, and I'm like, one day if I
customer. There we go.
If I ever do the toy collabs, I'm coming to them. I'm be like, let's do something together.
Awesome.
You know. So they're just cool. Unfortunately, it's been a while since you've been here, I know, but a lot of things are closed.
Oh yeah.
So.
Especially with COVID and everything.
COVID and just Charlotte evolving. So a lot of young people move here, and they mostly come to work the 9 to 5, do the bank job. Majority of them do like the South End situation. So I'm sure you've driven down there.
Yeah, that area has changed so much. It looks so different nowadays.
Yeah, so it is crazy. When we were growing up, it was the retail section for us. There was a store called the Niche Market, Black Sheep.
Remember skating over there?
Yeah. Flavor Factory was down the street, but it's still in the South End area, you know. So it's kind of like where we grew up, and then it evolved into what it is now. Which, no knocking it, it is what it is. If you love it in South End, you love it.
It's a new taste of Charlotte.
Yeah.
It's a new,
I like that. I'm gonna start saying that actually. New taste of Charlotte. But yeah.
New flavor.
So with that in mind, like, I try to think of restaurants now, and I'm like, I don't really even know, man. Passage of India up here.
Okay.
UNCC, that's good. Pio Pio, which is now Pio Chicken, a little Colombian spot. I think it's Colombian. If I'm wrong, let me know. Yeah, but those are like the spots that I really enjoy and try to, like, you know, absorb as I'm in the restaurants and eat it up. I don't know, there's some spots, and like I said, Nina, she's in the other room. I keep pointing over there. You guys don't know, but she cooks very well. So
awesome. That's good.
Anything and everything. It's just like, damn, how'd you know how to make this? This is my first time. Wow, that's crazy. It's good, but yeah.
She's a natural chef.
Yep.
There we go. All right. So obviously, we got a lot of good information as to who you are, Alex. Plug us. Give us how do we contact you? How do we reach you? Let's say we want to work with you, design or.
Well, first you like and subscribe this video.
You said it. Thanks for the plug.
Yeah, but I'm on the Instagram world. That's pretty much the only social media I have.
Yeah, his Instagram is going to be in the description as well. If you guys are interested, definitely check out his work. Obviously, I'm going to showcase some of it.
It's the, I guess, not easiest, that's bad, but it's easy to get to people that way, you know? If you're on Facebook, not as easy. Twitter, you can probably get to people because it's quick. But that's where I post a lot of work. It's Xelephant at XELE_PHANT. So that's kind of where most of my stuff lives. Outside of that, I do have a website, very outdated, but Xelephant, all one word, XELPHANT, creativedesign.com. You can check out some of the shoe sketches I've done. I did a conceptual street cart one time with a friend. That was cool. It's called Trap Dogs.
Okay.
We were gonna do 4 different hot dog carts around town.
Yeah.
But it was gonna be north, south, east, and west. And with that, it came colored bandanas, so you could be like, oh,
different areas of the city.
This is our territory, I guess. But yeah,
that's cool.
So yeah, so if you went to the east one, you could get your hot dog in the blue bandana or something. And then go to the north one, it's red or something. And, and it kind of brings in like this, not like collector aspect, but then you're like,
it's pretty creative. It's unique.
Yeah,
it's unique
I
for
went
sure.
To both or all 4 of them, and then have a lot of the Nascar sketches and stuff I've done in the past. But yeah, mostly that's about it. Text? No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. Too personal.
Yeah, I'm just playing.
But again, let us know who you are one more time.
Alex Brown. Gemini. No, I'm just kidding. Some people care about that.
Which kind of works because you're a twin.
Right? It's crazy. But yeah, with that in mind, just creative designer. Try not to fit in the box of just design and try to mingle into the other worlds, but for the most part, it's mostly digital. But that's just because I can turn it around quick, show something real quick, real cool, and be like, hey, what do you guys think?
Best way to get your media out there.
Exactly. I mean, everybody knows now because, I mean, everybody posts every day, so it's called content for a reason.
Awesome.
Here I am creating it. So, yeah, there's that.
Awesome. Well, Alex, thank you for taking time to share a little bit more about who you are, what you do, and your craft. Definitely do appreciate it, and I'm sure a lot of people will too, and discovering who you are as well.
Heck yeah.
All right.
If you find me, let me know. DM me something. Talk to you. But yeah, cool. Adios.